JD and welcome to my channel, Watch This Service. So today I'm going to be disassembling, diagnosing, reassembling, cleaning and regulating a 21 jewel Hamilton railroad grade pocket watch. And this watch is being serviced for somebody from the United States of America. So if you want me to do watch service for you, just contact me at jdwatchservice@gmail.com and let's see what we can arrange. So pay attention to this video because there's a lot of interesting things happening in this particular video. Try to get to the end of it. It might be a little long, but there's some surprises in this video that you should pay attention to. So there you go. So I'm JD again. It's obviously red day today. So maybe tomorrow will be blue day, but it's red day. And let's get on with this video. Alright, as this is a Hamilton lever set pocket watch, the first thing you want to do is align the hands, and it's aligning the hands for removal. So you align them to the 12 o'clock position. That way both hands are on top. You can probably align it to 9 or whatever else, but it keeps the seconds hand out of the way. And then I can put a little bit of a plastic protector over the top here that I have, and then use my very wide watch hand removers. And I don't go through the center on these here. I usually go through the side of them, but it does distribute the weight of the just basically the pressure going down, so that you can really easily lift those hands up without any pressure on the face. And then once I have the hands lifted up, I'll remove them and throw them into the watch dial. I usually throw them in there like that. They're not going to scratch anything like that. And now I've got to remove the seconds hand. So I found the best way to remove the seconds hand is just take your very small screwdrivers, the white and the orange I'll call it, and you just put the tip underneath the seconds hand and rotate it, and that comes straight up. If you try to use these, which are just smaller hand removers, and you've got no real estate to do that, well, it becomes very difficult. I'm also noting how close the pivot is to the edge of the dial here. I'm not sure if that's going to cause any issues, but that could cause undue friction from the pipe of the seconds hand. So there it is. There's the second hand. And let me see. Do I have any zoom capability here? Yes, I do. So there it is, and there's the pipe. So that's in good condition, and you just set that aside like that, and then put the lever set mechanism back. Now what we're going to do is raise up the dial. Now to rise the dial up, sometimes you can get your fingernail under the base here, but the first thing you need to do to do this properly is to get the crown out of position, which is pulling the crown out. There's a few ways to pull the crown out. I like to hold the watch like this with one hand, and then over the top with my other hand I'm able to grab the crown like this. That's a good way to do it. That way I'm pushing the crown up and the case back at the same time, and I got controlled removal. So if I just do this and pull really hard, it's not a controlled removal of the crown, or rising of the crown. So I just do that, and then I hold this steady as I push up here, and it usually works quite well. So this is getting the crown out of the way, because the crown kind of feeds its way in, or the stem feeds its way into the movement, and you can't have that in the way when you're doing that. Now I'm going to grab this tool here. I've got a few of these tools, watch opening tools. I've got this one here, which is kind of, I think it's a Bergeron tool as well. And then I've got the tool of all tools, and this is the Binford 4000 Bergeron tool. So this tool here is not cheap, but very good. And this is the 6987, the Bergeron 6987. There it is on the top. And the good thing about this tool is that you get this the right way here so you can see it. It's got knurled grip, so you got a very good grip on it, and you can replace the blades on this one here. This is a cheaper version of it, and then I have an even cheaper version that's in my watch area here. So what I want to do is get this under here to raise the dial up. Alright, to raise the dial up here, you want to put your Bergeron tool in the edge here, and there's a little tiny groove that you can grab. and this raises the dial up. Now when you're raising it up, if you feel that there's any friction at all or pressure, that means you're pushing against the stem. And if you look in there, there's the stem in there, and that feeds right in there. So the stem feeds right into the movement. So I want to remove this movement from the case so I can work on it and not have any issues at all. So I'll grab some screwdrivers here and try to get the right size screwdrivers and just remove this from the case. So it looks pretty gungy. It's been around, so it also looks like it has, does it have, no, that's just a case, so it doesn't look like it has a dust ring on it. So I'll just, this is already loose, interesting. And I just keep turning and it doesn't seem to be doing anything, which might mean that this screw was not even effective. Yeah, I'll have to have a look at the screw and the depth of the screw. It didn't look like it was holding anything. Screwed it in, it wasn't holding anything. So, and I just have to watch that the watch itself doesn't fall out. You don't want that to happen. So I have my finger braced underneath here to keep that in place. And this screw here seems to be coming out. I think I just felt it tick. Come on, there we go. And the two screws look like they're the same size, as you can see, right? Like that. They seem to be the same size, so there doesn't seem to be an issue with the screws. Now just get the crown out of the way here, and then the watch just drops right out. The movement drops out. Now I can turn that around here. It does have a dust cover on it. This is interesting. So I'll take these two screws again and I'll put them aside. And this time I'm going to put the screws in the main watch case because I don't want these scratching the watch face. And then I've got to remove the dust ring. I can remove the face first and then the dust ring, or the dust ring first then the face. But what I want to do is get this balance staff, or sorry, the balance cock out of the way so I can work on the watch and not worry about slipping at all. So I could remove the case, the dust cover first, right, which is right here. The screws for the face are right here. So, and to remove the dust cover, you get a smaller screwdriver, and I got my golf voice happening today. And you just put that in here where the crack is, and kind of wedge it like that. And sometimes there's an edge, but normally you just put it in like this, and then rotate a bit. Again, always keep your fingers away from the balance cock. So just go where there's an edge again, and there we go. The ring's out. Put that inside the case again. Just throw that in the case like that. There's only one way that goes on, so I'm not too concerned. And now I can put this watch down, and I just looked again. And it's no harm to put this down in here. It leaves a little dent, but this stuff is pretty tough. But what I want to do is remove this screw and then remove the balance cock out. So what I need to do is pick up my number 58 movement holder. So here's the very elusive Myers number 58 movement holder. So this screws on my pad here from screw hunting a week ago. So here it is, the Myers number 58 movement holder. These are really hard to get a hold of. I've got a few of them, which is greedy, I guess, but they're absolutely necessary if you want to do good work on the watches. I'm just going to move some parts out of the way here, like that. And anyway, the value behind this number 58 movement holder is it holds the watch in these jaws here. There's a set of jaws depending on the size of the watch. I'll move that out of the way. And these jaws actually come out like that. And there's a leaf spring in here that grabs the bottom edge of the jaw here. And that bottom edge of the jaw is pushed, the leaf spring is pushing up on that, thereby keeping this movement holder, the jaws in place. So you just put it in at an edge like that, sideways, and push down, and away you go. So, and then also with this movement holder, there's a button right here, and it's a release button. So you push in on that to squeeze into the movement. You can also just push like that, and it will click in, but I don't recommend that. Once it's in place, when you turn the screw here, it's actually, there's a spring inside here which is compression, if you can see that. So it's almost impossible to over compress the watch unless you, once it's snug, unless you screw down really hard on it. So I wouldn't want to put this in the movement in there now, because the face is still in the movement and the face would be riding against the edge of that. So I think the first thing I will do is take the face off. That way I don't have to snug the movement in like that. So I'll grab the appropriate screwdriver, and I will remove the screws, or loosen them anyway, that hold the face, the dial feet in place. I'm going to try to get all the right terms today. So shout out to Mr. Spinner. Hopefully he's watching my video today. He's got some very nice work, very professional camera work and everything I've seen on his videos. So I'm jealous a bit. I don't have time for that now, but maybe in the future I can do that. I figure I'm older, so I have funnier stories than he does. But he's extremely professional about what he's doing. So here I'm going to just do the exact same thing and get my screwdriver in here between the face and you use, just like in card magic, you can use your the skin on your thumb. I'm watching where the balance is here, to retain the break on the face. So I'm just hoping that works. And as I go around, I can use bigger screwdrivers, which give me a bigger wedge to get through there. And you don't want to overdo it. I'm looking down to see where the balance is, so I keep my hands away from that, my fingers away from the balance. And I almost have it here. Just trying to get, I think, one more shot at this thing, and it might come out. And there we go. Is that going to come out? It still wants to play bugger on me. So patience is a virtue in watch repair. So there you go. So there it came out. So all the dial feet are nicely intact there. So, and I'll move the dial around, but I'll lay it on the feet, and I'll put that inside the movement holder as well. So I can just drop that down here like that. There we go. See how nicely that fits. And when I put that in the in my overall holder, I'm better off. So here we've got the hour wheel, and sometimes these jobby doohickeys, I got to use the term thingamajobby doohickey because these are dial washers. So these dial washers here, they go on top of the hour wheel, which rides on top of the cannon pinion, and they're bent slightly, so they're slightly U-ed, and you can rebend them just a bit when you take them out. I put them in the cleaning machine as well. So that's what these do is push. They're sandwiched between the hour wheel and the plate, right? So what happens when the hour wheel wants to ride up and not make contact with the minute wheel pinion, these washers will push down because the face is on, so it keeps the hour wheel down in place to allow the gear to make contact with the pinion here on the minute wheel. So those are dial washers. I have a whole whack of these as replacement dial washers, but I use them for I don't know, whenever there's a watch that doesn't have a dial washer in it. So, and that happens. Now I can take this straight up, just lift straight up like that, and I'll just put that gear aside like this, and then I'll just grab I can actually grab the minute wheel by the pinion very carefully. Everything you do in watch work with the tweezers is utmost care and concern. Now the first thing I'm going to do here, before I take the balance cock out, I'm going to just take a photo of the movement so I can have a look at what the setting mechanisms look like. Didn't seem like the companies were standardized at all in setting mechanisms here, so I'm just going to take a picture. That way when I put this back, I know what the heck I'm doing. So now I can place this watch movement in the Myers number 58 movement holder. I'm just going to lay it down on the pad here for a second so it's nice and safe, and I can widen this up a bit like so, and then I want to have the balance cock facing the outside. That way when I do the removal, I have no issues. So let me look at the sizing here. It's about right there, so I just put that straight down. And I'll show you one thing that's pretty cool here. So put that straight down. I'm going to rotate that. So first of all, you don't want to squish the lever on the lever set mechanism. So you got to have that either in the inside or out of the way. So if it's on the inside here, like that, and I tighten this up a bit, and I don't have to go wholehearted on tightening it. You can look, you can see right there, that's where the lever is for the lever set mechanism. So you don't want to have that in the jaws on the side, and you want this to be free, right? So you can lift it straight up. The other value of this movement holder is that these little sawtooth jaws here really grip the movement well, so it's not going to come out. It kind of grips it on top of the edge. So if you look at the edge here of the movement of this plate, this is gripping on top of that plate, which is really good. So now I want to remove the balance, and I've got a pretty cool little balance holder. I've got my dunker tank that you've seen many times, and I also have a balance holder that I can adjust here. And I take the balance off carefully and then put that on the balance holder. So let's do that. So I get the right size screwdriver. Is that the right size screwdriver? I think it is. And I also have another device. I'm a man of a million devices here. This is the Bergeron 7010. It's the Bergeron. I keep saying Bergeron. Bergeron 7010. Bergeron is the guy that was on the TV show, I think, America's Funniest Videos back in the old days. So this is basically a probe that holds down parts. It's great if you're working on very detailed springs and stuff so they don't go flying. And I remember listening to a watch blog, and they were talking about springs going flying all over the place. So this is good. And then I'm looking at the top of the watch. It looks like there's a bit of a scratch all the way across the top of the plate here, and I did not do that. So previous watchmaker. It says it's adjusted to 5 positions as well, which is kind of cool. 5 positions right here. So it is a railroad grade. It's adjusted 5 positions. Let me show you that before I take it out of the holder. There it is there. Adjusted to 5 positions. It's a beautiful movement. So I want to take this out, but I don't want the pivot to ride up as I unscrew this, because there is a small chance of the pivot getting broken or destroyed or something. So I put a little tiny bit of pressure on the top of the balance cock with this device here, and that way the balance cock doesn't rattle around. Again, when I'm unscrewing here, I wait till I feel the tick of the screw thread coming out, and then I know that the thread is loose. And in this case here, like I said, I have a piece of Rodico on this movement, so just play a little bit of hockey here with this, and I just push that down onto the Rodico, and then I know that's going to stay in place. Now I've seen people take out the balance cocks a million different ways, so I do it this way. I get the pressure off like that, right, so I know there's no pressure on the balance. I'm worried if I lift it from this side straight up that there's going to be a problem. I know I can get the tweezers in the edge here, like this, and I can lift it straight up from here, get a good grip on it, tilt the watch just a bit. Sometimes it needs convincing, and sometimes it doesn't. There we go. So like that. Now I leave the movement, pretty much don't want to do too much walking around with the balance cock. So in this case here, it's not lined up properly because it's on the edge there. So I want to move it over a bit so I can do this. I need 3 extra hands to do this, by the way. So I'll just move it like that, and I'm hoping I moved it. It's got a nice little cozy pad on the top, and I'm hoping I moved it enough. And there we go. So the balance is now resting on the balance tack, and the actual balance itself is sitting on the sponge here. So it's just sitting nicely resting on there, so there's no stress on the hairspring, even though it's not too bad. I saw some guy untangling a hairspring online, and he was a pro, and he was holding the balance, and he was taking the balance cock and doing that with it, and I was like, oh my god, maybe these hairsprings are a little more resilient than I thought they were. So So that's now in place, sitting there. And so what I want to do is I'm going to take a cover like this, move this out of the way completely, and then put the cover over it. So I'm going to move this way over here to the edge of my bench here, so I don't want anything to get in the way of this balance cock and the balance and the hairspring and all that stuff. So move that out of the way and put a dust cover on it. There. Now I'm a little more satisfied that I can't screw that up, so it's out of the way. Now I've got the rest of the watch movement in front of me, and I just have to start the disassembly. So I can't remember, and I should have probably done this, but I should have taken the power off the watch if there was any power on the watch. I can't remember if there was any. I can check this. I'm rotating this just a bit, but I'm still keeping the lever clear of the, so it doesn't get squished. And I don't remember if there's any power left in the watch. So what I'm going to do is take, these are bench keys, they're called, and they're used for, if I do this with the bench key and I do this, is there any power left in the watch? I can use this probe now because it's it won't scratch anything on this watch. And when I move the key out of the way here, and I got pretty much no power left here. So that's good. So I just move the this here is the what's it called, the click. So I just moved the click out of the way, click spring, click, something like that. Now I want to remove the top parts of this watch. Anyway, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous movement. As you can see, it's got raised gold jewel settings, and these are usually 14 karat. So I'm going to take out the first thing I'm going to do is take out the I need to make sure that this thing is turning the correct way. Alright, that's pretty stiff. What I don't want to do is strip it. So I'll see if I can take this out first. Yeah, these old watches sometimes are very difficult to do work on because they're so old that the screws, and with this here I'm never sure whether it's left or right. So this time it's not righty-tighty, it's lefty-tighty. So you turn this the other way. Sometimes these watches, they've got a mark on this to tell you that the screw actually turns the other way. So this one doesn't. And I'll group the parts. So when I put it in the basket, I know that my parts are grouped and I've got no major issue with reassembly. So this here, I can put a screwdriver in there and just pick this up, or just try to get it at an angle and pick it up. So let me see if I can do here. Get my little gloves in there. That should come straight up. There we go. And this part has got two pieces to it, so you got to poke that piece out in the middle like that. So that's the way it is, and that'll go into the wash machine like this. So this one here, I'm a little concerned about the screw here because it's very tight and I do not want to strip it. That's not a good thing. That's going right into the barrel, so I'm going to check my screwdriver size. So I can probably go up a size here and still be able to turn it. Yeah, this would turn counterclockwise. So I'm going to put my finger down here on the edge and then try turning it again. I don't like that at all. That's super tight. So I might have to, given how tight this is, I may have to put that in alcohol to actually get that removed properly. If I strip the head out of it, I've got another problem, right? So, and I don't want that problem. I'm not sure why it's in there so tight. But I know that head will come right off, and then I've got myself a big problem. So the first thing I'm going to do here, I want to get rid of that pallet fork. I'm very upset that I can't take this off right now. So I'm going to have to figure out how to dissolve that off, which is not a good thing. So that just got me some extra work, and I don't like that. But I don't want to strip the head. And that's what happens when these watches are super old like that, is that you've got a basically something that's soldered in from years of being in there. So again, I think I can put a solvent in there or something, or just basically rinse it in alcohol and then let the alcohol work its way in, or rinse it in lighter fluid and let the lighter fluid work its way in. Because I know the lighter fluid won't affect the lighter fluid will not affect the shellac or anything like that, and all that is over the top of the mainspring barrel. So, and I know it turns counterclockwise. So I could try turning it the other way, but that would be crazy if it turned clockwise. Let me see here. And just put these screws out of the way, like that. And now I got to lift up. This is the bridge for the pallet fork. I just have to very carefully lift that up. I need a smaller screwdriver. I'm a little bit upset at that mainspring. There we go. I'm a little upset that the mainspring ratchet won't come out. Trying to lift this straight up so it doesn't wreck anything. There we go. We got that out. I'll very carefully grab that pallet fork straight up. And yeah, it's in good shape. Pivots are good. Move that out of the way. This pallet fork I put over with the hands, and that way I can. I usually like to hand clean the pallet fork. Yeah, that's pretty nasty here. Yeah, I'm really upset at this wheel here. I don't want to strip anything, but I don't want to leave it in either. So. Man, that is so tight. What the hell? Alright, I got the pallet fork out of the way. I can probably, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm going to move these, I'm going to get rid of this bridge here. Alright, so I'm going to get this out of the way. Every now and then, I may ask somebody the proper way of loosening that up. Because I have not had very many that are like that. I know if you force it, you could strip the top of that screw out, and I do not want to do that. That would be terrible. That would cause a whole other problem. I'd have to drill out things and all kinds of extra work. So this is an old pocket watch. This is, I was telling the gentleman whose watch this is, that these old pocket watches are tricky as heck to repair, because first of all, you've got to have experience repairing them, and know what to do, and then you have to make sure that you pay attention to everything as you move parts out and do this. So very carefully remove that. There's that plate, and I can put that plate with the screws that are over there. You can see me in the upper camera doing that. And I think I'm able to take the wheel out here without, it's not the normal way of doing things, but I think I can remove this. I'm going to remove this first, maybe. I just want to get these out of the way so they're not going to cause a problem here. So, and I know the pivot's pretty long here, so I may not be able to remove this wheel. So, because that's where the seconds hand is, and you don't want to force it. Now I know that I'm attached here, so I'm just curious whether I can remove this plate with the barrel attached. Let me have a quick look here. There's the barrel, it's coming through there. And if I unscrew that plate and go straight up, will it remove it with the barrel attached? It should. I should have no problem here. I'm still looking for where that lever is on the lever set mechanism, so I just want to get these gears out and then deal with that barrel. Now I'm going to be cleaning the mainspring and the barrel later, so I can Alright, let me secure this watch in a bit better. That's good there. Did I take that out already? Yeah, it's good. So there's 1, 2, 3. These screws are normally all the same size, so I'm not super concerned, but I'll publish this video and before I do the cleaning and see if somebody can give me some advice on what to soak this in to get this out. 'Cause I don't want to pull it straight up, and I'm a bit concerned here. Because I think the plate will come up with the mainspring, attached. Let's see. Let me see what's going to happen here. Yeah, I think it's going to come straight up. Looks like something is still in there though. What is attached? What's happening is the barrel is in the way of the wheel here. So, and what I didn't do yet, which I should have done, is remove the cannon pinion. So I made a mistake. And I guess you gotta fess up to your mistakes. So I'm going to flip this around and I'll lay this on the mat here. And just nice and lightly in there. I told you that wheel would come out. There it is. So the other one went high enough for that one to drop out. I didn't remove the cannon pinion, which was stupid. So I'm going to get my cannon pinion remover tool and remove that. I'd say that's a rookie error, but I didn't. But the main point is that if you make a mistake like this, I didn't try to pull that plate up really hard. I saw if it would come up naturally, and the cannon pinion is holding that center gear out, which is not allowing this to come up. So now I can take the cannon pin remover tool, pull out the cannon pinion, and there it is there. There's the cannon pinion sitting on the pad, and then the barrel and everything should come straight up. There we go. So that just dropped straight down with the barrel intact. I'm going to take a picture of this too, because I took a picture of the back end. This is not typically how you would take this apart, because that screw won't come out. So I'm moving the cannon pinion out of the way. And the setting mechanism should be able to go to the way too. So I should be able to take this and just pull it straight up. I'm going to take a photo of it first, just in case there's some strange stuff that happens with this. There's my photo, and then I can just grab this, and I believe that will come straight up like that, and I'll put this over here, and we'll take that apart for cleaning. And now this barrel is in the way of removing any of these gears here, so this one might be able to come out. There we go. But I think it's going to block this one here from coming out. Maybe. Nope, no it didn't. Beautiful. So now there's my problem right there. So I've got a mainspring here. I've got a plate on top here, and this turns, but this screw is going right into the arbor of this barrel. So I think what I want to do is soak the whole darn thing in lighter fluid and to see if I can loosen that up, because that might loosen it up. So I think I'm going to end this part 1 video right here, because I'm going to take some lighter fluid. Let me just show you what I'm going to do here. I need a container for the lighter fluid. I know I have one here somewhere. So if you look in the upper camera, that's my lighter fluid container right there. So I could send this whole thing into the wash bath to see if that loosens it up, which I might do. So it would be a different way of doing it, which means I'd hand clean the barrel after in lighter fluid. I think I might do that. That might be a good way of loosening it up, is put that in the wash machine and let the wash machine agitate the crap out of this, which might loosen the screw up, which might allow me to take the screw out and clean that up. So I think I will do that. But first and foremost, as opposed to sitting it there overnight, that way I can wash the movement nicely first. So here's all the spring mechanisms and everything else of this movement. Sometimes I don't like to remove these. And the reason why is that if a spring breaks, like this is fine here, but if I take this off and that spring breaks, I got a whole other issue. So I throw some of these things, I throw them right into the wash machine and let them dry and then oil them. That way I don't have a chance of that breaking. And I'm going to do that with this. After I'm finished the cleaning, what I'm going to do is take off these cap jewels, right, and have a look at the jewels inside to make sure there's nothing broken. But I have to take the cap jewels off, clean these by hand, and I'll do that for this. And there should be I don't think there's a cap jewel here. Yeah, it makes it look like there is, but this is just a jewel setting. But there would be a cap jewel right, no, and another, no, yeah, right here. So this cap jewel here would be for the escapement. So I think that's escapement cap jewel. I have to also take that apart. So what we'll do is stack this in the cleaning machine. Now normally I would stack the spring in there as well, but as you can see I have a problem getting this barrel off. And I really don't want to pressure this too much. I tried turning it and I gave it a good heave-ho. And I really wish this would turn. No, I'm giving it enough pressure that it would normally break it off. So I don't want it to break off. So I'm tossing the whole thing into the cleaning machine like this, which is not going to hurt it at all, by the way. So let me just bring this aside here. So this would be the first phase. And I might get some people saying, why aren't you taking the setting mechanism apart? But if you break, for some reason, you break this spring right here on that setting, on this vintage watch, then you're in big trouble. I can clean the whole thing and re-oil it without undoing that, and then there's no issue. So that's my advice for any new watchmakers out there. If it's your watch and you want to go take a shot at it, go ahead. But if it's someone else's watch and you want to be very careful about what you're doing, then don't do that. So it's a chance. But what I really want to do is make sure that this barrel, the screw comes off and I can take the cap off, and I will hand clean that with lighter fluid after. So it's going to go into the cleaner, but I'll be hand cleaning it as well with lighter fluid. So I'll put the bottom plate on here, in there, and I'll put this plate in beside it, kind of like that. And then I got plenty of room for things, so I usually put the big gears up top, but I can use these little tiny containers, as you can see in the other camera, and I can fill those up, so that way I don't lose screws. And just get this done properly. So I can put 2 screws in there, 1, 2, and then put this part in. Now that's going to spin around. Now that'd be fine. And I'll just leave that like that. So put that back in place. Then I'll take the opposite side and grab that one. So I want to make sure that I've got this relatively balanced, so the cleaning machine, the Pearl cleaning machine I have, doesn't really care that much. So I'm going to put the stem in there, and I can see how the stem goes on, like that, and like that. Drop that, all 3 things in there, and I can throw the cannon pin in there as well because it doesn't know the difference. And I will leave, that's enough for that one. And then I'm going to grab a side one here, put that in there, grab a side one. Geez, I wish that screw came out. That's disappointing. So we'll see if the washing machine there loosens it up, and if it doesn't, I'll throw it in alcohol after and talk to people about how to do that. But that was way too tight. It was over tightened by the last watchmaker, because you should never have it so tight that it could never be removed. So if I can throw these parts in here like this, and I'm just trying to group these parts so they all have a home, and put that in the basket there, and then grab this one here, and I can group basically the last couple of parts here, the wheels, put those in there, Now I know Mr. Spinner is an amateur watchmaker like I am, and I'd like his advice on how to loosen that screw, or anybody out there. Bubba Smith maybe. There was an old watchmaker that I used to know years ago, who probably, I think I'll go on their blog and see if I can write them to see if I can get that thing solved. Now I can put these screws in with this here, with these plates. I think they're all exactly the same, but you want to make sure they are. That way you don't have issues. So I can do that, or I can put it on the top. Let me put them on the top. Put this aside like that. There we go. And push that down. Just have to make sure this is nice and tight. She's tight, boy. And there's this plate here, and I want to put that in here as well. And I'm going to put it like this so that plate doesn't scratch the other plate. So they're all in there. Good. And this would go on top like that, and squish it down. So that goes in the cage. So you've got this one first, and then you've got this one on top, like that. There we go. These two things are nicely fitted. And then the last one I've got here, I've got to put these parts in, and I'll take the center wheel and put it in there because that fits nicely. Take this wheel, I put it pivot down in here, and that's the fourth wheel. I'll take this wheel, which is the intermediate wheel, and put it over here, and then I'm going to take the escapement and put it over here, and I'm going to take the screws and separate them. I'm going to put two over here and three on the other side, and that way if this is in relative balance, and I look at the seal here and make sure that the smoother side of the seal is facing down so nothing escapes from the watch. So there we go, like that. And I'm going to put the whole 9 yards into the wash machine. I'm going to put that down like this. I'm looking at the edges here to make sure this is fit perfectly, and this will compress down within the washing machine. And there it is. So talk my way through this. I can take this part of the watch here, and I can put that into a nice clean holder. See if I can grab one here. Well, I got the one it came in, but yeah, let me grab that. So the gentleman left me with an E-tag so he could figure out where the heck his watch was when it was traveling around the world. So if I can get this on this side here and then lean this on this side, then I'm good to go. And the E-tag, I'll lean it this way. I really don't want this tag in here though. Maybe like that. Yeah, that's perfect. You can see that on the other camera. So, and there we go, like that, and then move that again. Move that out of the way. Everything gets out of the way. There we go. It's out of the way here. And so that's it. I've got that done. Always put your parts away, your tools away after you finish doing work. Put that away. I've got screwdrivers all over the place, and I'm a little pissed off that that mainspring barrel and the screw in the top are not coming out. I could really crank at it, but through experience, I've never broken one of those off. I've had broken screws off in the past, and my recommendation is not to over twist it, because if you break that screw off, then you've got a whole other problem. You're going to have to figure out how to get the broken piece out of the arbor, which would be a nasty job. And if I can't get that out, I'm not sure what my next plan is. We'll see. It's always plan B. There's always a plan B, folks. There's always a plan B. You could probably heat it up, but I don't want to temper it. So that's that. So we're going to clean that in the wash machine, the Wash-O-Matic, the Binford 2000 Wash-O-Matic. I put my jar away because I'm not going to use that till maybe later. And that's it. So thanks for watching the video. I think I'll cut over to just chatting with you for a sec. Hey there, it's JD again with my Gulf voice. So it's time to draw a little bit to show you what the problem is I've just experienced with this very nice Hamilton 21 joule railroad grade watch movement. So Let me flip over to my camera here and do a little bit of drawing here to show you what has happened with this particular part. All right, it's knowledge time. Time to do some drawing. So I'm going to go sideways with this whole problem. So I've got, what I have is the barrel here. There's the barrel, and there's the gear for the barrel, and it goes like this, all the way down like that, like this. And these are all teeth for the gear, right? And then the arbor that the mainspring wraps around is right in the center here. So I'll just make it a little bit bigger than it naturally is. So it's in the center like that, and then it goes inward, and then there's, I'll call it the pivot for the arbor. So and it just goes through the mainspring barrel ever so slightly. And of course there's the hook and everything else on this side of the arbor. And then that plate is over the top like this, like that. And then on top of that is the, I'm going to call it the ratchet wheel. Let me look that up really quick. Well, folks, I couldn't have been more right. So there's the ratchet wheel here, and there's the ratchet wheel screw that screws into the arbor for the mainspring here. So I was absolutely correct with the term. So this would be the plate here, right? The plate would be like this thick, like that, let's say. And then there's two pieces to this. There's the ratchet wheel, and then there's an inset, or something that's set into the ratchet wheel. So I'm going to draw this big again so you can see it. There's the hole where the ratchet wheel the screw needs to be in. So there's the ratchet wheel. So this part here is actually the plate, right, over the top. So that's the watch bridge here. And then the ratchet wheel would be here, like that. And then there's and this has teeth, of course, right? Because it's merging in with the click spring. So it prevents it from turning. And then there's a screw, and I'm going to just oversize this whole screw. The screw goes right up through here, like that. I'm making it extra big here, okay? There's the head of the screw, and then the threads, like that, going all the way into the arbor. So when you rotate that screw, I'll just do an arrow like that. When you rotate that screw clockwise, you can actually wind the watch. You can actually wind, because you're turning, the barrel is in place. There's a plate on the bottom here that the pivot goes through, right, for the arbor. I know it's not called a pivot, it's called something else, but it goes all the way through anyway. And like that, there's the plate, and you usually put a little bit of oil right there. So this screw here, this is the ratchet wheel. Let me just make it red, like that. That's the ratchet wheel there, and there's the guilty screw right there. So this screw is not touching, it's not screwing into the ratchet wheel, it's not screwing into the plate, it's screwing into the arbor right here, right? So this screw is going right into the arbor, and that's the mainspring arbor. And it doesn't go too far into the arbor, but it goes far enough. If I keep twisting this could take the head right off the screw. That's the first bad news. Now I'd be able to remove it from there, but secondly, I'd need to now remove, if it broke right here at the arbor, I'd need to figure out how to take that screw, the shaft, out of the arbor, which means I'd likely have to drill it out with a lathe. So there's a lot of work required if I can't loosen that screw. So the best bet is to try to loosen the head of that screw, and then I don't have hell coming up. So what my evil plan is to take the parts that are in the basket, as I just showed you what the problem is here, when I throw this part all as one into the cleaning machine, there's solvent in the cleaning machine, and then there's of course the two rinse jars after you get through the cleaning jar, and then there's the dryer or heater or whatever. I get it through that whole process, then I might be able to remove the screw from the arbor. If I get through that process and it doesn't want to come out, right, then I need to figure out how exactly do I get this thing loosened up. So then I'm going to ask some people. I could just throw it in lighter fluid and see if I can loosen it then. But I'm going to try putting it through the cleaning machine first. So it's obviously red day today, so congratulations on red day. These are the little jobs that kind of throw you off a bit when you're doing watch repair. It's been about an hour and a half of work today so far, and if I didn't have that little hitch, there wouldn't be a problem. So after I get this watch out of the cleaning machine, I've got to take off the cap jewels, or 3 of them I think, for the balance, and I've got to clean the balance, and I can do that in the meantime. And then I've got to clean all the cap jewels and all the jewels off, and I've got to examine the jewels under a microscope to make sure there are no cracked jewels, because if there's a cracked jewel, that's a whole other issue. I do watch repair work for folks. I usually only do the repair work if the watch means something to them, if it's a family heirloom or something like this. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this to make sure people are very happy with the watch they get back, and it's a family heirloom. In this case, the individual is giving that watch back to their grandchild. I believe his name is Joey, and he wants this watch cleaned so he can give it to a grandchild later on. So that's the story anyway. Hopefully it's true. I think it is. It's a nice watch, and I'm taking extra crystal clear care with this watch, Joey. So we'll get this through the process, get that screw removed, then we're fine. We're dancing again, okay? So that's it. So let me go clean that watch, let it dry, and I'll do the reassembly after we've got a dry watch. Oh, and the last little bit, thank you for watching my channel, and please pass these videos along. I'm trying to get up to 10,000 views, because I think you get a lot better analytics when you get up to 10,000 views. So like my video if you do like it, and then pass it along, and I'll keep making these watch videos. I know I do watch some card manipulation videos. I got a video on the Positive Grid Go mini amplifier that they made, the Spark amp, the Spark Go, which is a pretty cool little amp, and I'm playing some rock on that. So I do these things. I said didn't I? I do other things that are my hobbies, and I do put them up. I put them up largely for family, if it's something silly, and if it's a guitar thing or something, a review of an amp or something. I'm doing it for the other guitar players out there who are curious of the value of buying something like the Spark Go. By the way, I really like the little amp. You can throw it in your guitar case and use it anytime. All my watch repair videos are for people that are either hobbyists in watch repair, or they're just interested in seeing me disassemble, reassemble, clean, examine, make parts, do what I do with watches. And I've been doing it for a lot of years. So thanks for watching my channel. I'm JD. Keep a stiff upper lip. We got a lot of smoke coming through the air today, so I'm going to stay indoors, which means I'm going to get a lot of watch work done. So thanks a lot, and see you next time.